make of the numbers?
Yeah, I mean, the glaring omission is there's no stated 2021 forecast for deliveries, right? And, you know, I've written a lot in the build-up to these earnings that consensus was around 800,000, some murmurs that it could be 1 million. What Tesla is saying in the release is that they expect to grow deliveries 50% sequentially every year from this point onwards. What's very important to note in the release is that the installed capacity, particularly in Shanghai, has grown since the prior quarter. So the installed capacity, the number of cars that they can physically get through the production lines in a calendar year, is closer to 1 million than it is to that 800,000 consensus that I was talking about. Otherwise, it's a mixed bag, right, guys? Look at the financials, a beat on revenue, a miss on earnings per share, free cash flow much better than expected. All the things we used to ping Tesla on every single quarter. So it is a mixed bag, but the disappointment is clearly there in the after-hours reaction, and the glaring omission is that there is no clear stated goal for what will be delivered this year.
But what's the general sense here, Ed, that investors are looking for? Is it just that growth in deliveries? Because all through 2020, especially when we saw that run up towards the end of the year, there was all this talk about Tesla was more than a car company. It was more about than deliveries, that this was a tech company, this was a battery company, this was so many other things, and that is what justified the valuation. What about those other things? Is that in this news release?
Look, I go back to the recent raises on price target and new ratings on the stock from Wall Street. Every time a price target's been raised, and even when the bears have conceded that they were wrong, if you read the note that they put out on that morning, it says that a lot of the valuation is assigned on future revenues, high-margin software revenues, the idea of autonomy and robo-taxis, the idea of energy storage, which we don't talk about a lot, guys, right? Tesla has this whole other business about commercial and residential energy storage, solar, and a lot of what's baked into the share price is reflective of that. Elon Musk is very good at keeping investors looking to the horizon. Every time there's an earnings call, there's a little carrot about what's 2, 3, 5 years down the line, talking about 2030 delivery targets, expanding manufacturing over the course of 5 years. The issue is that Tesla may be the incumbent in this market, but it's delivering very few vehicles relative to its combustion engine peers. VW, Toyota deliver 10 million vehicles each apiece. Yes, they're not battery electric, but that's the reality check that we're getting here, that it has a lot more work, capex, time that it needs to expand its global manufacturing footprint to get the cars up to speed, and it's still a little way off on those value adds that are reflective of the share price right now.
Ed, talk to me about that. I'm on page, I think, 9 or 10 on the press release. We know Shanghai was a success. They talk about Berlin. They talk about their next gigafactory here in Texas for the Model Y capacity. Where do you see that next leg of growth when it comes from the product?
Yeah, I mean, credit where credit's due, right? Tesla says in the earnings release that Austin and Berlin will come online this year. They've already started moving machinery into the factory in Berlin. In terms of the context here, they've built those factories incredibly quickly. You know, we assign a lot of kudos to Tesla for being the incumbent. They have great technology, but you forget at the end of the day, they're in the business of building cars. It's capital intensive. It's very difficult to do. Look at the struggles that GM and Ford are having in electrifying their fleets. But they're on target to bring 2 new factories online in 2021. They also confirmed that the Tesla semi-truck, a new product range, a heavy truck, battery electric, will also come to market this year. So they're making progress. It's just it's not happening this week, January 2021. It's something that will happen by year end and beyond that. And we're all very impatient.